Hey there, fellow guitarists. My name's Josh Rogers. Welcome to MBN Guitar. This is the first time I've gone live in a long time. And I really just wanted to go live today so that I could catch up with everybody and also let you know what's coming up for the channel, why I've been away for so long, and also about something pretty exciting that I'm involved with in January. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. If you are watching, please let me know your name if you want to. Just write it in the chat, and also let me know where you're watching from. So I'm obviously in New Zealand, and it's 5 in the morning here. So I chose 5 in the morning because I thought it would be the time that a lot of people could catch up and watch, because it's Sunday in most of the rest of the world. New Zealand is ahead, I think, of most countries. So yeah, I tried to do it like that. Anyway, I'm going to start off with a little piece. So yeah, make sure you write in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from and what type of guitar you're playing, what you're into, what you're working on right now. And yeah, I'm going to start off with this one. Awesome. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in wherever you are. I see there's about 3 or 4 of us, so that's cool. Hey, Balfun, bro, it's been ages. Yes, long time no see. Long time no see. Oh, you've been following the new studio? No, this is actually this is a rental property that I'm in at the moment. The new studio should be ready, hopefully in December. Our house is scheduled to be finished November the 24th, and then I think we have to wait for the Tauranga District Council, which is where I live. I live in Tauranga in New Zealand. We have to wait for them. Could be a couple of weeks for them to give some type of piece of paper. It's called a triple C in New Zealand, a certificate code of compliance or code of compliance certificate. If we move in before we have that, then there's some, if something happened to the house down the road, we would be liable instead of the council or the builder. Yeah, but I can't wait to get into that new studio. My wife and I we're so excited, especially to be building a new house, but also to be able to make a custom studio for me. So we'll have the cameras set up all the time. It looks really nice, and my guitars will be hanging on the wall and everything like that. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait, actually. I'm probably going to go live over there during the construction, just to let everyone see what I've been doing. But yeah, in other news, I am going to be playing. Well, I've been invited to play and kind of lecture, I suppose, at the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School. So for those of you that don't know what that is, I suggest checking out my Facebook page, the NBN Guitar Facebook page. I'll leave a link, but you can also find it on my channel. It's the NBN Guitar Facebook, and there's a bit of information there about it. So there's some pretty impressive people there. I'm basically going to be talking about how to build a YouTube channel and how to monetize digital content and stuff like that. Which I'll get back to the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School, but I wanted to let everybody know as well why I've been kind of absent on the channel, or from the channel, I should say, for the last 5 years. But just before I do, make sure if you're watching, just please let me know. Just write a comment, say where you're watching from if you'd like to, what guitar you're playing, and just feel free to join in the chat. Feel free to ask me questions about what I've been doing or what my plans are, but I will be discussing that here anyway. Yeah, so the reason that I've been away for 5 years is because back in 2017, excuse me, 2017, 2018, you guys that have been with the channel for ages may remember that I was in Africa at the time. I was in a country called Djibouti. And just before I'd flown out there, my wife and I had started an Amazon FBA business. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what Amazon FBA is, you can just check it up. Basically, it's called Fulfillment by Amazon. And we started that business. We started with $1,500, and we bought our first products from China. Then we went off to Africa and did our 1 year over there performing. And during that time, it just took off. And yeah, for those of you that remember, I was uploading so many videos when I was in Africa. That's when I did Grenada, my most popular video, which is the November Rain acoustic guitar solo, which has about 5 million views now. I uploaded, I think, more than 100 videos while I was in Africa. And yeah, so anyway, I was doing that, and our Amazon business was just taking off. It got crazy, actually. And we did our 1 year in Africa, and then we came back to New Zealand and thought, gee, you know what? Our Amazon business is doing so well, we don't need to go back out on the road. So we stopped international traveling, international performing, sorry. For those of you that don't know, I used to be performing in 5-star hotels and resorts all around the world. I did that on and off for about 12 years. Yeah, so we were doing pretty well, like really, really well. And it ended up taking over our lives. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. It was amazing. It's the reason why my wife and I were able to settle down and have a baby. For those of you that have watched my most recent upload, you can see me playing to my baby. We could not have a baby when we were performing overseas because we never knew which country we'd be in 6 months from now. We could be anywhere, Japan, China, uh, yeah, anywhere. So it was impossible, really, to have, not impossible, very difficult, very challenging, and it probably would have been unfair on the baby. Yeah, so it took over our lives for 5 years, pretty much. And last year we sold that business, which was amazing in itself. You know, I'm from a tiny little town, not even a town. There's not even any shops in New Zealand, and for someone like me to build a pretty big international online Amazon FBA business is quite crazy. I come from a farming background. Uh, yeah, and yeah. Anyway, to cut the long story short, that's why I've been away from the channel. Just before I carry on, Multi Green Man 123. Hey, bro. Oh, Emily. Ah, yes. Actually, it was my wife that told me to learn that piece. Oh, you're from Croatia, living in Denmark. Man, I'd love to get out to Denmark. What's it like out there? Croatia, isn't that where they filmed Game of Thrones? Wasn't the one of the cities Lubrovnik or something like that? Lubrovnik? Is that where they were filming? Oh, was that where the Lannisters used to live? Or something like that? I don't know. I did like Game of Thrones back in the day. Oh, Dubrovnik. Ah, yeah, it is. Oh, awesome, man. What's Denmark like? And oh, Yamaha silent guitar. I've heard a lot of good things about those. Are they the ones that you can fold down? You know, it's sort of all hollow and something, and you can take the neck, fold it up, and it becomes like it's really good for traveling. Is that the one? I must get out to Denmark. Yeah, and Croatia as well. I'd love to get back to Europe. I've been to Europe 3 times. I think the closest I got to Croatia was Slovakia. My friend and I, Horomona Horo, we went to Košice, and we were performing there at a music festival. Yeah, I remember we drove across from Vienna to Bratislava, and then we drove from Bratislava all the way through Slovakia to Košice. So what are you doing out there? What are you doing in Denmark apart from buying guitars, of course? Yeah. So to get back to what I was saying, that's why I was away from the channel. The Amazon FBA business just took up all my time. And for those of you that don't know, uh, the videos in that I create, they take a lot of work, and even getting the pieces ready to to perform for you all when I make like a playthrough video of me playing the whole thing. I don't make any cuts, so when you see me play, oh, back in the earliest videos I did, but as the channel grew, I would work on the pieces and make sure I could play the whole thing through. If you listen carefully, you'll hear a few mistakes here and there in those playthroughs, and it's just because I just wanted to play the whole thing. I didn't want to go back, edit it and all that, and make it super perfect, which takes ages and ages in post. And even as I was doing it, it took me ages. And creating the PDFs that are on the website, some are free, some are for sale on mbnguitar.com. They take a lot of work too. I create everything in Guitar Pro 8, all the PDFs, that is. Guitar Pro 8. Actually, when I started the channel, it was Guitar Pro 6. So it was Guitar Pro 6, 7, and 8. And I have to create everything. I write everything out, which can take ages as well. and I put in all the fingering and that, and it matches my videos. And then I have to export PDF, export the not PDF, PNG file across to Canva, which is another great software, services software. And then I have to do everything in there as well, create PDFs, upload them to the website. Yeah, there's just so much involved that it's a lot more than people think. So that I didn't want to compromise the quality, and that's basically why I was away from the MBN Guitar YouTube channel for 5 years. Even the website has suffered. I would say I've hardly done anything. I mean, I keep fairly active on Facebook and Instagram. Excuse me, but it's nothing like YouTube. But I did want to say that I'm back pretty much within the next week. You will see an upload, or maybe 2 or 3 uploads from me, a couple of reviews, guitar reviews, and hopefully the first video for Se Ela Perguntar, which is what I started this live stream with. That's this one. Oops. Oh, so it is that one, the Yamaha, the one you can fold up. Bro, those must be mean. Yeah. Oh, thanks for that, man. Yeah. Oh, well, I've been a guitar teacher for a long, long time. I got first started teaching when I was about 16. 16? Yeah, 16. And that was just sort of casual. And then I actually got a job when I was 17, teaching night classes at in New Zealand. We call them colleges or high school. Yeah, high school. So I was teaching night classes at a high school, and I was getting pretty good coin too. Back then, I think I was getting about 20 something dollars an hour in New Zealand, and this is going back to 1992. Yeah, so I've been teaching for such a long time, so I've got a bit of experience when it comes to that. And speaking of teaching, this brings me to another subject that I wanted to discuss in this live stream, which I did touch on just before, which is I'm going to be participating as a teacher or an exhibitor, I think they call them, at the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School. Taranaki is a region in New Zealand. The USA has states like California and I don't know, Idaho, Nevada. So, yeah, so for Taranaki is a region in New Zealand, and every 2 years they have a summer school down there, classical guitar summer school. It's the biggest classical guitar event that I'm aware of in the country, in New Zealand. If you don't know, New Zealand has got a very small population. It's about 5 million people here. The country is kind of big, I guess, especially for such a small population. And classical guitarists here are very few and far between. There's not many of us. Actually, it's like that around the world, but proportionally speaking, there's not many players here. So this is a really big event, and I've been asked to take a workshop, do a recital, which is kind of freaky because I haven't done a classical guitar solo recital in I don't know. I think it could be 20 years. Excuse me, something like that. A long time. It's been a long time since I've done a classical guitar recital, so I'm freaking out a little bit about that. I'm getting my program sorted, so I might run through some of that with you guys every now and again. I might go live and just say, "Look, this is my recital for January." Yeah, so the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School. So actually, I'm going to be speaking on how to how to make money online, because I have had some moderate success with the channel, but the Amazon business that I grew and subsequently sold with my wife is where I learned so much about online business. And so that I was invited by John Couch, who is an extremely uh, successful classical guitar player. He's based in Australia, but he is from New Zealand. And I think the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School is his brainchild. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, John contacted me a couple of months ago, and honestly, I was flattered. I never even thought I'd be considered for something like that. However, I thought, gee, what can I offer? The players there are extraordinary. Yeah, the people that are going to be playing, I'll cover who they are soon. And I thought, oh, I don't think I can bring anything to the table playing wise, because technically speaking, and their level of education is far higher than mine is in the classical guitar world. So I thought, wow, I think I could talk something about how to grow a YouTube channel, especially as a classical guitarist. It's not that easy. Classical guitar, as we all probably are aware of, is not hugely popular. Although when people hear classical guitar, generally they love it. They're thinking, what is that? What is that? Before I carry on, make sure to introduce yourself if you can. I'd love you to leave a comment. It's really nice for me just to see people chipping in and giving me their name if they want to, what guitars they're playing, where they're watching from. It makes it feel like it's a two-way conversation. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here rambling, which I don't want to do. I mean, I want to do it, but it is nice to get that feedback from the viewers. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be speaking about. I'll be speaking about how to make money online as a guitarist, or uh, in general, because our Amazon FBA business had nothing to do with the guitar, nothing at all. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'll be doing a workshop. I'll be doing a 1 hour recital, and I'll also be taking an ensemble of players between grade 1 to 3. So I've got about 4 or 5 days to whip them into shape and make sure that they have a 10-minute concert program ready to perform at the end of the week. So I will be leaving information about the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School probably in the description of this video, and also on Facebook and Instagram. So make sure you do follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Those platforms are much better for a bit of quick information about what I'm up to. YouTube is a bit different. It's not really good like that. I think the polls and stuff, they don't really seem to get that much interaction. I watch quite a few car channels like Auto Trader and Doug DeMuro and that, and I notice if they do a poll, even though they've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers, the poll interaction is so low. So I think, yeah, if you want to see what I'm up to, yeah, make sure you follow me on Facebook and or Instagram, and then you'll see that I'm far more active on those platforms than I am here on YouTube. Hey, g'day, Howard. Oh, the UK, Cambridge. You know what? I like the UK. I've been out there a few times. I've been lucky enough to travel out to the UK three times. I think it's great, and I can see why so many people from the UK come to New Zealand, especially like people from Scotland and stuff. Why they come here and move to the South Island. The similarities are just, yeah. There's just so many nice rolling green pastures. So what's everybody working on? Historic guitars, you say? Like, what have you got, Howard? Don't tell me you've got a Hauser 1, 1937, or any Jose Romanillos guitars from the 80s. Yeah, what have you got, Howard? Ooh, I am keen to hear what you've got. Yeah, well, speaking of guitars, we must all love classical guitars, otherwise you wouldn't be here watching. This is this is a brand new guitar. It's really brand new. It was only finished last week. And yeah, I have this, but before I talk a bit more about this, let's see. Panormo, how do you say that word? Lakota, and 15 others. All pre 1850. What the heck, Howard? So you've got 17 classical guitars that are, now let me do the math, more than 173 years old. What the heck? Are they smaller ones? You know, that would be pre-Torres, wouldn't it? All of those guitars. So do they look like modern guitars, or are they quite different? Early Romantic collection. Yeah, so am I right? Is that pre-Torres? So yeah, they must be yeah, smaller. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like parlor guitars. Are they like parlor guitars? Wow. So are they just at your house, or do you? Oh, pre-Torres, yeah. Are they at your house, or do you have them on display for people to come and see, or what's the story there, Howard? I would imagine Cambridge, UK. You're living in a castle. You must be. Have you ever put them on YouTube or anything? You know, is there anywhere we can see and hear the guitars? A collection like that. I mean, are they still playable? Can you? I would imagine they probably are, or some are, some aren't. Maybe. Fascinating. See, this is one of the beautiful things of YouTube. We can just connect. You know, we can find out lovely things like that. Like Howard here has got 17 or possibly more guitars that are 170 years old, at least. It's fascinating. So, well, yeah, okay, let me talk about this guitar. So I just got it literally 1 week ago. I drove over to, oh, Howard, I bought this from Cambridge, but here in New Zealand. There's a Cambridge about an hour from where I am. Man, this is spooky. Yeah, so this guitar was made in Cambridge, New Zealand, by a luthier called Rodney Steddle. He's originally from South Africa, and he used to be a practicing optometrist. However, he retired a couple of years back, and he's building beautiful guitars like this one. So this one is based on the Domingo Esteso guitar that was made for Agustin Barrios. So he's a phenomenal guy. He's been all around the world, I think, researching guitars. He's got drawings and schematics of all types of guitars, and I think he somehow got as much information about Agustin Barrios's guitar as he could, the Domingo Esteso guitar, and he made this one. So I think it's about as close as you can possibly get. So it has a traditional bracing, fan bracing, Brazilian. I don't know if the camera's not probably picking that up. Don't worry, I am going to make a review of this guitar. Oh, the light. But, oh, there, you can sort of see a bit better. So it's Brazilian rosewood back and sides, Engelmann spruce top, Stainless steel frets polished, which feel, mwah. I would say polish your frets or have them polished. It makes a massive difference. I had no idea. Uh, yeah, mahogany neck and these lovely tuners there. And it is phenomenal to play. It is the best playing guitar I've ever had. Even a bit better than the Cordoba C12. So I mean, let's face it, a Cordoba C12, even though it's almost the top of the line for Cordoba guitars, uh, it's still not as good as this one. I mean, this is handmade luthier guitar. This cost me 7,900, not US, New Zealand dollars, which is about 5,000 US, somewhere around there. So it's super reasonably priced. I mean, in the classical guitar world, I'm sure some of you know the prices can get up to, oh, well, the sky's the limit. I've seen some for 275. Some of the Torres guitars, seen as we're on the subject. Oh, I'll do that, Howard. So they're on YouTube. They are played by my friend Roland Gallery. Search Calliope, early romantic guitar. All right, I'll do that after this live stream concludes. How exciting! Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah, so this guitar is super playable. It's actually the finest classical guitar I've ever owned. The Cordoba C12 was the best I'd owned up until this one. And for me, as soon as I played this in Rodney's workshop, I was just blown away. I even bought a tear to Rodney's eye. Can you believe it? I was playing this guitar. I'd never played it before, and he started crying. He said, "Well, he said I don't know if he was just being super nice or what. I think he's very genuine guy, but he said that I had produced the best, most beautiful sound on one of his guitars in his workshop ever, and it's pretty high praise because 6 months ago he had Vincent Lindsay Clark playing at his house. Rodney Steddle, he's a luthier, but he's a huge lover of classical guitar in general, and he has house concerts. He has a lovely home in Cambridge. It's beautiful, and he opens it up to the public and has hosts some very fine classical guitarists. As I mentioned, 6 months ago, he had Vincent Lindsay Clark, who is, well, I think he's from the UK. I'm not sure exactly where in the UK Vincent is from, but he is phenomenal. He's probably one of the best modern classical guitar composers. Writes absolutely beautiful music, or composes absolutely beautiful music. Great guy and loves a beer. As soon as his concert finished, he was on it. So that, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, I had the chance to buy this guitar. Rodney contacted me and said, "Hey, Josh, I'm working on this guitar. When it's done, would you like to come and play it?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, of course." And actually, for a few years, I thought I wanted a really modern guitar. And what I mean by modern, I thought I wanted one with an elevated fretboard, a sound hole over here, 20 frets, lattice bracing, double top, an armrest. I thought I wanted all that stuff. But then I realized, why why do I why am I concerned with features? I should be more concerned with how it sounds and how it plays and how I feel when I'm playing it, rather than, oh, does it have an elevated fretboard? Does it have 20 frets? Does it have a sound port? Does it have an armrest? All that type of stuff. It's actually inconsequential. What matters most is, do you like the sound of the guitar, or do you love the sound of the guitar? And does it play well? And does it feel right to you when you're playing it? So yeah, I reprioritized everything, and I thought, this guitar has none of those things, and it's awesome. Yeah, so I'm really, really happy with this guitar. As soon as I started playing it, I thought, oh, this is a guitar for me. I'm gonna buy this off Rodney straight away. Jonathan, hey man. Oh, true. Oh, awesome. I should do a proper review of that guitar too. I'm actually selling my Cordoba C12. I've got quite a few guitars, and I've got the thing with me too is I like to play my guitars, and I've realized that there are some guitars I've got that have just been gathering dust for more than a year. I have a beautiful Ibanez 7 string, and I haven't even touched that guitar in a year, I think. And it's amazing. It's a J Prestige. So I'll be selling that. I'll be selling my Cordoba C12, and I'm also selling a Alma guitar. If you've seen my video of me playing Se ela perguntar by Dilamando Ray, that one, that piece, I played that on the Alma guitar. It's from South Korea. It's made by Kim Hong Hee, who's a very well respected luthier from South Korea. And you might be wondering, oh, why'd you get a guitar from there? Because that's where my wife's from. And in October of last year, she went home to visit her family. And while she was there, she bought me that guitar. It's a short scale, 640 mil. It's got an armrest, 20 frets, elevated fretboard. But for me, it just doesn't work for me. I thought it would when I read. The thing is, too, this is why it's really important sometimes to be able to play the guitar before you buy it. I know we live in a world of online, and it's great for some things. If you want to buy, I don't know, an iPhone case or some guitar strings or something, it's all good. But I find if you want to buy a guitar, especially a classical guitar or a guitar acoustic, something like that, not an electric off the shelf, those are pretty, those kind of, they tend to sound pretty similar. Classical guitars, acoustic guitars, man, they are so different. They might sound awesome on paper. You're reading all the specs. Oh, yeah, oh, Brazilian rosewood. Ooh, AAA grade spruce top, blah, blah, blah. And you get it. And it just, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it just doesn't work for you. So that's why, if you can, it's a good opportunity to, if you can, try to play the guitar before you get it. Gee, how do I say that name? Gelby? Curtsy? Hey, bro. Hey. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah. So this is my new guitar, and I had actually been looking at a Jim Redgate guitar, Smallman, a few guitars like that, Jose Romanillos. There were a few that I had lined up. To be honest, they were at the very top end of my budget. I mean, those guitars are 20, 30,000 US, which is not an insignificant sum of money. And I was a bit hesitant because I live in New Zealand. I didn't want to spend money on a guitar like that much money, I should say, and not ever played it and just buying it based on the name alone. I mean, they probably would have all been amazing. However, I would have been devastated if I'd spent $30,000, say, with Sickest Guitars or GSI Guitar Salon International. Bought the guitar, got it to New Zealand, pulled it out of the case, played it, and thought, you know what, I don't like it. Yeah, and I know you can return them. Those two companies I just mentioned, Sikas and GSI, they're great. Obviously, very reputable companies. They will take their guitars back if you don't like them. But what a hassle. What a hassle. I was in the international shipping business for 5 years. And before that, about 2 or 3 years. So shipping things around the world, I've had about 8 years of experience, ranging from small items right up to whole containers. So I know that it can be problematic. And the thing that makes it worse too is sites. So Brazilian rosewood, for example, and I think a few other rosewoods were designated as endangered, even for things like musical instruments. So even if you had a Brazilian rosewood guitar that was old, I think you could still encounter problems. And I've heard they've relaxed, or was it redacted? Something like that, the word for changing or pulling back those laws. But for musical instruments, that is, for Brazilian rosewood and a few other ones that were on the endangered species list. But I'm not sure. Yeah. So anyway, I was able to get this one from Rodney. And what I had always wanted was a guitar with Brazilian rosewood. Back when I was younger and I did my first ever solo classical guitar recital, I did that with a Brazilian rosewood guitar. A guy lent it to me. Actually, I didn't even have a very good classical guitar, and he lent me his one. It was a 665 scale length, which murdered my hands. I've got small hands, and that guitar was difficult for me to play. But I got through it, and I loved the sound. I thought, gee, is this what Brazilian rosewood is like? And ever since then, which was more than 20 years ago, I thought I've got to get guitar made with Brazilian rosewood one day. And it's beautiful to look at too, and it smells amazing. I wish you could smell this guitar. Yeah, Brazilian rosewood. If any of you have a guitar with Brazilian rosewood and you're willing to risk it, I think you can. This is what Rodney, the luthier, did for me. He had a piece of Brazilian rosewood just lying around in his workshop, and he sanded it. And then he said, "Smell that." And I smelled it, and I was, "What the heck? It smells amazing." This guitar, if you leave it in a small closed room like this is a small room that I'm in right now. The smell of this guitar, of the Brazilian rosewood, fills up the whole room, and it smells divine. Honestly, it's beautiful. Hey, Artorius. So, where are you guys watching from? Let me know. Let me know. I love knowing where everyone's watching from. We've got Multi Green Man in Denmark by way of Croatia. We've got Howard from Cambridge in the UK. Oh, US East Coast. That's why I came on at this time. See, this is super early in New Zealand. I started this live stream at 5 a.m., but I knew that if you're in other parts of the world, especially the UK, the US, whatever, you guys are about 12 to 18 hours behind New Zealand. So, oh, this is a good time for me to go live. So even though it's early, I wanted to make sure that I jumped on at a time where I thought most people, it wouldn't be too difficult for you all to watch. Brooklyn. Is that New York? Brooklyn. The only Brooklyn I know of is New York. So awesome. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming. What else can I jam? I've been talking a lot. I should play some more. Yeah, so this guitar is based on Agustin Barrios's guitar, or one that he played that was made by Domingo Esteso. And yeah, so Rodney even went to the trouble of trying to copy the rosette. So it's absolutely magical. So I'm going to play something by Barrios. I should, right? For those of you that don't know, this is uh, Julia Florida. Yeah, there we go. So that's a piece by Agustin Barrios, a Barcarola, or Julia Florida. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Could be Julia. Yeah, so I thought it was fitting to play that because this guitar was based on one of Barrios's guitars. So I gotta pay my respects, right? So yeah, big ups to Rodney Steddle, the luthier, the New Zealand-based luthier that made this guitar. It's just beautiful. I mean, when I play it, this might sound cheesy, but when I play this guitar, it takes me to another place. It's That's the effect it has on me when I'm playing it. I'm like, oh man, it's like a car that just does everything you want it to do. I'm right into cars. I like high performance cars, always have. And sometimes you get in those cars and they just do everything you want them to do, and they make you feel like you're Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher, or they just make you feel that way, even though you may not be. Yeah, they make you feel like that. And this guitar makes me feel like, wow, I can play. It's just, yeah, it does everything that I want it to do. Hey, oh, nice to see everybody there. Kevin Malloy, Ireland. Bro, I was in Ireland. Oh, ooh, I don't want to get too political here. I went to Dublin to play guitar. And we had 3 days of summer when we were there. Apparently, all the Irish were making huge jokes about it. They said that we brought the good weather with us. I should say, sorry, from New Zealand. Yeah, so I was there for 3 days. I was staying in Dublin on Christchurch Street. I think that was the name of it. I had some lovely lamb shanks when I was there, and did two performances. It was absolutely great. For those of you that don't know, I'm Maori. That's my ethnicity. So we were the original people here in New Zealand, Aotearoa. And for some reason, we seem to get on really well with Scottish people and Irish. Oh, we get on well with everybody, but I'm not sure. I think it's a tribal thing. Yeah, so I mean, I've always had great experiences when I go out to the UK. I had a great time in Ireland. I've been to Scotland twice. Been to the UK, had wonderful times out there. Got so many friends all across the UK. I'm very fortunate, and it's music. Music got me out there. So yeah, very fortunate. Ah, oh, Paco de Lucia. Man, I was just watching him yesterday. One of his concerts. Oh, I can't remember where it was, but I could listen to Paco de Lucia all day. That guy, his picado runs. I was just studying one the other day. I think it was something. The guy was teaching it. Me, I don't know. I just can't believe how quick he was. You know, Uh, how does a dude move his fingers that fast? Not just that, but just the all the different things he could do at the same time. There's a piece. There's a guy called Grisha Guryachev. I think that's his name. He covers a lot of Paco's music, or Paco, and there's a piece called Almaraina, I think, or Almaraima. That piece, I don't even know how the heck he's doing it. He's doing something with the thumb. It's it just blows my mind. Just Yeah, it's not just the speed; it's the other techniques as well. This, the Al Zapua, I think it is, when you're lifting with the thumb, going up like that. That's going on. He's got all this other stuff going on. He's hitting the guitar. Yeah, just wow. Ibby, Terminator. Ooh, Amelie. You know what, bro? I haven't played that pretty much since I uploaded. I can't even remember what it's in E minor, isn't it? I'd have to bring up the music for it. Let me see. Let me see if I've got the music somewhere around here. I may have it. Sorry, everybody. I'm just searching for a piece of music that someone has asked for in the comments. Oh, oops. Let's make no. Search in there. I don't even know where the sheet music is. Oh my goodness. Now I'll see if I can. Isn't this funny? This is so hilarious. Sometimes, believe it or not, I have to go to my own website to find my music. I had to do that the other day. Ah, it's kind of embarrassing. If I can find it in there, I might be able to play it. Oh, there we go. Is it there? Oh man, this is cracking me up. Can you believe it? I'm on my own website looking for music. Dude, I haven't played this in years, literally. What am I doing? If you're French, please don't murder me for this. Comptine d'un autre été. Rhyme of another summer. That's it. Sarita by Barrios. No, I don't think I have. I know he wrote so many pieces of music, and I can play four or five, I think, of his. As much as I love his music, and I have done for so many years, I can't play that many of his pieces. I do love listening to Chilil Rifik Kaya's Barrios CD. Oh, well, not CD. We don't. Who has CDs these days? His album online. I downloaded it a couple of years ago when I was on a business trip to China. Anyway, I'm going to give this a blast. Yes. Oh. Oh man, I'm murdering it. Sorry. Sorry, I've got to scroll the music. Oh, it's nice to play this again. I forgot how nice this piece was. Uh, 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 oh, oh, this part. Yeah, that's right. There you go, bro. I don't know if you're still watching or not. Oh, Andres Martinez. Bro, I wish I could speak Spanish. I think, is there something, exercises for mastering tremolo? Is that what you're asking? Algún ejercicio para mejorar la técnica de tremolo. If you're asking about tremolo, something, when I get asked that question, tremolo, one of the most important things is listening to tremolo. Yeah, no, I know you got to move your fingers and all that stuff, but the way to get a really good tremolo is to listen very closely to how your tremolo sounds. And one of the best things to listen for is that everything is even. So sometimes you might have a smooth tremolo, like your fingers are doing the right things, but one or two notes sound louder than the rest. So one of the things you do want to aim for is just to make sure it's even. So the volume is even, not something like. Just by getting that volume even, your tremolo sounds even. Sorry, I can see, can't quite see my fingers there. The other thing that upsets a tremolo is a gap between one note or the other that isn't the same as the other gaps. So you might have something like this. In that case, there's a gap between P and A. So a way to try to improve your tremolo, if you have a gap there, is to make the gappy note louder. In contrast to what I just said before about making everything the same. That makes you a bit more aware of where that gap is. Sometimes it's not that we can't do a good tremolo, it's just we can't recognize where the problem is, or what's causing that problem, like first principles. You got to lock down. You got to really get to the source. So listen, your ear is going to tell you everything you need to know. Listen very closely to your tremolo. Is it even? Is the sound, the volume even for all four notes? If it isn't, find out which finger is playing louder or softer than the others and work on that one. If it's too soft, make it louder, just that one finger. And if it's too loud, make it softer, just that one finger. You have to, of course, be quite studious and find out which finger it is, which is the offending finger. Yeah, so those are my biggest tips for tremolo. Listen really well. David Quayle, Santa Cruz. That kind of sounds familiar. Off the top of my head, I don't think I do. Looks like I've got a bit of homework to do after this. Santa Cruz, David Quayle, no. Oh, you're welcome, Ibby. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I haven't played that piece in a long, long time. But Jan Tiersen, he's really well known, eh? I'm just going to try that again. Oh, I was supposed to accent those high notes. Yeah, there we go. Those accents, they are important, aren't they? They shape the music, shape the melody. Mm. This is whoa, this is harder than I remember. This part. Oh, what did I do there? That doesn't sound right. I'm gonna have to revisit that tab. Nice. I think I played it better before. Yeah, lovely. So if you just tuned in, please let me know where you are in the world, that is, and what guitar you're jamming. For those of you that have just joined, this is my new guitar by Rodney Steedle, Domingo Esteso. And also, one of the big things I did want to say, I said it earlier, is that I'm pretty much back now for the channel. The reason why I had been gone, and I've mentioned this before, but for those of you that just jumped on, I was very busy with another business for the last 5 years. It pretty much took over my life, and that's why I went away from the channel around 2018, the middle of 2018, which is when I came back to New Zealand from Africa. I just couldn't find the time. And I did mention earlier in the video that I don't like posting videos if I haven't had much time to put any effort in. Going live's a little different because it's just us chatting. That's how I feel about it. It's just like having a chat with old friends or new friends. You're just chatting away. However, the proper tutorials and stuff I was doing, they took a lot of work, huge amounts of work. Not just the video, but preparing the music as well. Like a lot of things, we don't truly sometimes know what people are doing to get where they are. Like athletes or whatever, the thousands of hours they've spent getting up early in the morning and just swimming or running or whatever it is. Or accountants or whatever, all the study they've done and it's just like that. So I was spending a lot of time making those videos and making all this content for YouTube. And I just found I couldn't do it anymore. Just didn't have enough time. But now I have, because I've sold that business, and now I have time to put back into the channel. And it's really true to my heart. I loved it. The time that I was making all the videos and that, even though it was a lot of work, I really enjoyed it. And I've made connections around, like the first guy that commented in the section here, Bao Fun. I don't know how many times we've been chatting over the years. We've never met, but he's a big fan of the channel, of the content, and maybe my teaching style. And so that kind of thing has made it all worthwhile. And I really was quite sad, to be honest, that I kind of lost touch with the channel and with a lot of people out there. So yeah, I'm back. And what I mean by I'm back is that means I'm going to be creating content on a regular basis and uploading it to YouTube. However, I may be going off on a slightly different tangent, I think, with new content. Because I've just had a son, as you'll know, and I'm looking into exploring the benefits of music. And the benefits of music and the benefits of playing a musical instrument. And I mean, really getting into it. I don't tend to do things by halves. If I get into something, I really get into something. So yeah, I'm looking at uploading content more about the joy of music and the joy that playing an instrument doesn't have to just be the guitar. Of course, it can be any instrument at all. But the joy that brings to life. I've been in a lot of situations where I can't remember how many people have told me, "Oh, I wish I could play an instrument. I wish I'd carried on with my guitar playing, or I wish I'd carried on with my saxophone playing." Something that as we get older, our different responsibilities enter our lives, and usually music or the study of an instrument gets, it gets thrown away, it gets pushed to the side because it is popular saying life gets in the way. And so even though you might have had dreams to play the guitar and all that stuff, you end up not. But I do find music has had huge benefits for me when I've been down, sad, low points in my life. Everybody has low points, really low, and you're thinking, oh no, how did I end up like this or something like that? And the guitar's been great. It's been a wonderful outlet, a way to express or get rid of my frustrations or share my joy. If I'm happy, play the guitar. And my biological father, whom I didn't know very well at all, he passed away about 3 years ago. And I went to his house, and he had a lot of kids, to about 3 or 4 different ladies. Anyway, my brothers, like my full brothers, we all play guitar, or 3 of us do. And my older son, he plays guitar as well. And we all had our guitars there. We went to his house, and his other families had also come. And we were the only ones that played the guitar. So I was playing, my brothers were playing, son was playing. And I really felt so connected, and the other families were just listening and just commenting on how beautiful it is, to play and be able to play. And it's absolutely true. I don't know anyone really that regrets knowing how to play an instrument. It's just, as I said, it doesn't have to be guitar. It's just a beautiful thing to have in your life. But anyway, I'm going to get back to another thing that I mentioned earlier, which is the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School coming up in January 2024. I've been invited, and so I'm just going to tell you who else is there. Just give me a little moment here. The team. Yes, the team. So some of these guys are on YouTube as well. So one of the guys there is Simon Powers. When I started this channel, I used to watch him because he had a few thousand subscribers back then, and that was like huge for me. I had about 3 subscribers, and they were my best musical friends and my wife. That was when this channel just started. I didn't even think I'd get to 100 subscribers. So I used to watch Simon. So I'll just read you his bio. So Simon Powers, a passionate and expressive style coupled with a formidable technique has garnered attention for Simon Powers as a talented soloist, chamber musician, and innovator. Growing up in Sydney, Australia, Powers began his studies at the age of 5 on the cornet. Inspired by his brother's musical pursuits, he took up the guitar at age 11 and began an enduring obsession that would result in performances throughout Europe, Australia, and the Americas. Now, this Simon has studied in some places. Anyway, listen to this. After completing his studies at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music with Rafael Agostino in 2004, Powers traveled extensively throughout Europe to study with some of the world's most renowned virtuosos: Oscar Gilia, David Russell, Pavel Steidl, and Agnello Desiderio. I'm sure we all know who those players are, right? Yeah. Super famous. David Russell is probably the most famous one out of all of those. Then I'd say Oscar, Agnello, and Pavel. That's how I look at it anyway, in terms of how well known those players are. Now, in 2006, Powers was invited to undertake a Masters of Music at Yale. Yale, Ivy League university. So anyway, that's a bit about him. So he's going to be there. He's also studied with Ben Verdery. Uh, so I'm sure most of you know who Ben Verdery is. I believe he's part of the Los Angeles Guitar Quartet. Yeah. Anyway, so he's there. There's Simon. Ziggy and Miles, who are a duo. Peter Doblinski and myself. The Contra guitar duo. Nicoletta Tedesco. Yeah, so those are the people that are going to be there teaching. So there's some big names in there, and it's happening in New Zealand in Taranaki. So registrations are open. I know most of you watching are not in New Zealand. I would be surprised if anyone watching right now is in New Zealand, but it is something to consider. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously it's a great way to escape winter, to come down and enjoy a nice New Zealand summer. Our weather is beautiful in summer. Temperatures range from between about 24 degrees up to highs of about 28, 29. So it's really very nice, very temperate. I'll leave a link in the description, actually, of how you can register for the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School. It's going to be great. Timetables there, everything. And hey, New Zealand's a beautiful country, really nice. Come down here, enjoy yourselves, meet some new people, and of course, uplift your classical guitar playing. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it from me. So, yeah, just to reiterate everything that I've said over this, I'm going to be a guest lecturer, performer at the Taranaki Classical Guitar Summer School in January 2024 here in New Zealand. Click on the link, or make sure you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, NBN Guitar, NBN Guitar, and you can see all the updates there. My new guitar review coming. This is a Rodney Steadall guitar, an imitation, or should I say a tribute to Agustin Barrios's guitar, made by Domingo Esteso. The fact that I'm selling two of my other guitars, Cordoba C12 and an Alma guitar concert model, and that I'm back pretty much, and you can expect regular content from me once again. So I think it's fitting that I end the live stream with a piece by Barrios. This is Valse Opus 4, number 8. Okay, here we go. Valse Opus 8, number 3. Peace out, everybody. And as you know, let your fingers fly. I'll see you soon.